Excellent. Okay, welcome back to the Bishy PE Podcast. Today we're joined by Jim Leishman, MBE. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, boys. Well done to you guys. It's a great idea.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. McHugh, Mr. Johnson.
Good morning.
Jim's most favourably known for his time in Scotland as a professional football manager, citing several teams such as Dunfermline Athletic, Inverness Kelty Thistle, Montrose, Livingston, and then finishing off at Dunfermline as well. And he's currently the Provost of Fife. So I'll kick us off with question one today, Jim, and I'll just ask you, how's lockdown been for you? What have you been up to?
Mainly, I've been doing a lot of meetings like this during lockdown, the Zoom meetings for the council. But Adele and I, we've got a huge big garden, so really we've got stuck into the garden. But I've really tried hard to both of us self-isolate, so I've enjoyed that. It's been peaceful.
Yeah,
I've still been doing council work, and I'm a director still at the Dunfermline Athletic Football Club.
Yeah.
So we've been having meetings, trying to help the football club get through this.
Jim, did you manage to get your vote in time?
For who?
For the big vote, did you manage to get it in time?
No for me. I've done all that, John. I was years ago. I was on the league management committee of the Scottish Football League, and I've done my time with that. It's, there's new people on board. It's new guys, and good luck to them. It's a hard time they're having.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So next question, Jim. Just tell us a bit about your school career. When did you leave school, and what did you do immediately after?
I had a good school. The teachers were magnificent. I was at Lochgelly West School, the primary school, and I went up to Cowdenbeath Senior High School, and some great teachers. In fact, I was really upset when one of them passed away, and I decided to write to, and I know it's one of the questions down the road a bit, who influenced you at school, whatever, but I wrote a letter to the teacher, Mr. Hutchison, who taught history. And I thanked him for his, the way he treated me as a schoolboy, and the respect I got. And I thought I'd just write him a letter. I just wanted to think so. I sent him a letter from the Provost because I knew he would be quite proud of my achievements with the football and with the political side. So a good school. I should have done better, guys. I should have done better at school. Because I was leaving on a Friday to start a job on the Monday, and I'd signed an S form, a schoolboy form for Dunfermline, so I could have left in fourth year after my O-levels. But my dad, my father, who was a coal miner all this time, he says, "No, you're staying on to do your hires, eh? You're staying on another year to get your A-levels." So at the time I was a wee bit, "Oh, come on, Dad, I've got a job, I can start." And he says, "No, I didn't get that opportunity. I had to leave when I was 14 or 15 and go down the mines. So, hey, you're better than that, so you stay on and get your qualifications." And thankfully I did, because later on in my career, these qualifications came back to help me out, go to my next career.
Yeah, good.
Did you always have that in your... Sorry, Grant. Did you always have, when you were 14, 15 years of age, was the aspiration always to get into football?
I would say from I was 13-year-old, I really started thinking, hey, because I was starting to get picked then for the Fife select teams, and I was getting into the trials with Dunfermline Athletic at 13. I signed at 14-year-old as a schoolboy. So from that, then I really took it, hey, I've got to take it serious here. And because I was never really a great football player until I started developing, but working hard at my skills and my fitness. And I was I was I think I was 21st out of 550 at the Scottish Cross Country Championships.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean? And that's when I was at school. And that doesn't mean a lot if you're in the first 4. But for me, it was a fitness thing. There was a method why I can do this, compete against other folk and get fit, build up my stamina for the future. And that's what I did. And I'll come again, some of the questions that you've given us are really very good. And I'll explain about what I did at school, out with the school hours.
Mm-hmm. What was your kind of favourite subject at school, Jim?
I liked English. I liked history. That was great. And another teacher at school, 2 teachers at school. I did we did the prelims in January.
Yeah.
And I think at physics I got something like 24%, and then biology I got something like 27%. But the two teachers says, right, Leishman, you can do this, and if you put a wee bit of work on this, you can get an O level here. I says, right, sir, yes, sir. And so, but I did, and I passed both of them because the teachers inspired me, and they had faith. They had faith in me. They showed faith, and I ended up with 7 O levels where. It was the highest. I could have done better at. 7 was fine. Hopeless at maths, good at arithmetic. Hopeless physics, hopeless. But I passed it. Geometry, all these things. Oh, you didn't get a 4.42 in geometry. Pythagoras' theorems. That's what I used as a football manager. The players were astounded.
Jim, were you involved in any extracurricular clubs then at school?
Great stuff. We had great teachers. Mr. Clark, he was a geography teacher. He was in charge of the cross-country team. So he persuaded me to take part in the cross-country. And it was me and a wee guy, David Maiden. And David Maiden was 5th or something in Scotland. So Nobby Clark, he got me involved in the cross country, and there was another woman, I can't remember, Sybil. She got a bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games for Scotland in the fencing. So she started a fencing club, and I got to the last 4. Got to the last 4 in the Scottish Championships. The boy that beat me hammered me. He went on to win the competition, and he went on again to fencing. Yeah, the foil.
Brilliant.
Again, I did it. If you look at the fencing thing, it's a real physical thing. Mm-hmm. You've got to have feet going back and forwards. Do
you think that helped you in terms of your football?
Quick feet for the football, stamina the cross country. So, sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, there was a wee bit of a lag there. I was saying, do you think that helped in terms of your football?
Oh, definitely. The stamina, I could have run all day, and I could have run for 90 minutes plus at the football. The fitness was a great thing, and speed, I was quite quick. Although I was 6'1", 11 stone 6, I was quick, and that helped. That helped when you went to the top of the tree, when you went to play against the great players. That helped you. That really helped you. Mm-hmm. But it was all these things, I loved at school. These things. I was in the athletics team. I was captain in the athletics team. I was the under 15 schools athletic champion, which I've still got the trophy with my name on it. I'm quite proud of that. And I was one of these team players that took part and helped out. Played for the cricket team. I was a wicket keeper for the cricket team during the off-season. Played for 5 schools at cricket, and I could have been a golfer. Couldn't let school and went to as an apprentice golfer, but football was my sport. My real sport, the one that I thought I've got a chance. And I was quite a confident 16-year-old. I was quite confident. I'd got into the schoolboy teams then, Scotland schoolboys, and I was getting into the Scottish juvenile teams, and a lot of Newcastle, Tottenham, Rangers, they were all trying to sign me at that time. Yeah. So I had a bit of confidence. Dunfermline were a big team at the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think these extracurricular clubs, do you think they helped you develop skills that helped you to be successful outside of football?
They gave me disciplines,
Yeah.
They gave me disciplines. For the cross country, it was a mental thing. You had to be, when you felt rotten, 5 miles to go or 2 miles to go or whatever it was, that's when you had to have a discipline and say, hey, come on, it's in the head, keep going, you can do this. Yeah. The fencing was a real hard sport. You think you're just going like Zorro on the telly, but no, the opponents want to, your opponents want to give you one right in the stomach,
Yeah.
So you have to be disciplined mentally. But I like school. Yeah. And I got on great with the teachers. They were all. I thought they were all. When I look back on it, they were a huge influence. My father was a huge influence on me, and so was the teachers at school. They were great. They showed a lot of faith. Come on, Leishman, you're lazy. Get it done. And I wasn't a lazy person, but and studying for the exams. But for the O-levels, when it came to the big ones, I put a bit of time for the teachers.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So see outside of
it's a real
school then,
important
did you have any?
Guys, to finish that. Sorry, see, just to finish that. For the kids that are listening, it's a really important time. You maybe didn't think so, and you maybe want to go from 14 to 20 within 2 months. But that schooling time, the last years of your school are very important. It's a great mindset to, I keep saying to the players, if you're in the room, be in the room. And I use the school classroom as an example. You've got a period of maybe 35, 40, 45 minutes where you're going in there. How often during that period does a school kid go out the room? Does he go and thinking, right, where am I going tonight? What am I going to do? So the secret is keeping them in that. And the same as football. We've got two periods, 45 minutes where during that 45 minutes, if you go off the park and think of something else, that's when your opponent nips in and scores that winning goal or scores a goal that puts them in front. And so it's getting them to concentrate and convince them, right, I need your attention for 45 minutes or 40 minutes, and we'll have a 5-minute break in between. But I need you to concentrate on this and get the most out of that period. And that is a real discipline. And that's what I was good at on the park, because I played against some of the best players in Europe. When I was 16, 17, I was playing against the best, like the European Cup winners and the European champions, Celtic and Rangers. And you had to concentrate against these boys. They would just destroy you. But that's what I wasn't good at that at school. That was one of my weaknesses. I kept thinking about, right, what have I got to get for the training tonight? What have I got to do this? And I kept missing wee bits of the classroom period. If I went back, I would discipline myself to listen to learn.
Excellent.
I don't know if that's good advice.
Sorry, my next question then is about part-time jobs. So did you have any part-time jobs growing up, or did you just go straight into football?
No. When I was younger, when I was 13, 14, I had a paper round in Lochgelly. So I used to go around, and you're not going to believe it. And I can't even remember what I got, £1.50 or something. But you got tips, and they give you tips and that. So when I was at Lochgelly, 14-year-old, and you had £2 in your pocket on a Saturday night, man, you were minty. And you were loaded. All your mates tapping you for a Coca-Cola, eh? and I sung in St. Finian's Church Choir, right? I was a choir boy, and you got 2 and 6 for a wedding. So if you got 2 weddings on the Saturday, you got another 5 bob, man.
Brilliant.
I had a new shirt every week. And
did a tune in Jim, no?
Oh, hopeless. I can hear a big country tune. The choir master was our music teacher. That's what and he just wanted bodies, eh? And they had a football team. they had a football team as well. So, but we only played 2 games, I think. We won the 2 games, but you got 5 bob, brilliant.
Yeah.
And the choir, the church was right across the house, eh? It was right across the house. So, and there were some tough guys in the choir. Eh? 5 bob's a lot of money to them.
Yeah.
I think we ever won a singing competition. We were murder. But I can remember one time, like, sorry guys, Christmas Day, or Christmas time, sorry. My mum and my 2 aunties were going to the bingo in Lochgelly, right? And I've got my Cossack on and the wee furly collar. And we're at Lochgelly Cross singing under the Christmas tree. And I saw my mum and my 2 aunties coming from the corner, and I'm like this, oh no. And she stops and she said to them, oh, look, there's your James. Oh, look at your James up there. I'm like that, Mum, buzz off. I was going to swear, never swear at your mum. I says, Mum, get going, man. And she was all smiling, man. It's were waving to me and that, and I'm like that. Oh, so that was quite embarrassing.
Brilliant. So my next question's about your career into football, or your journey into football. So you signed an S form, I believe, straight from school. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And did you? So
before school, an S form was a schoolboy form, so you had to sign that. You signed an S form, Scott, to stop the English teams taking you down to England. Right. But my football, I stayed in Lochgelly, and we were the last house in Lochgelly, 165 Dunfermline Road. And then next to it was Brucefield, and the park was called Brucefield Park. So every Sunday, Brucefield Rangers played against Brucefield Celtic. 2 brothers, Ali Bird was the Celtic supporter, and Geordie Bird was the Rangers supporter. And you had to sign a form, You had to sign a form. I was the first transfer, player swap in Scottish football history. I went from Brucefield Celtic to Brucefield Rangers in exchange for Ipsy Black, right? And it was magnificent. And in the olden days, you used to get silver wrappings in the cigarette packets. So the boys cut out a Scottish Cup, and they got all the silver wrappings and made it into the Scottish Cup. We played with the Scottish Cup every Sunday. It was a bit rough. It was, hey, I'm talking here when I was 12-year-old, eh?
Yeah.
And my brother, who was 4 or 5 years old, he was playing. He played for Brucefield Celtic and my other, and all the boys played. And I was one of the younger ones, eh? But it was a great learning curve playing against the older boys, eh?
Yeah.
And so that was when I started, and then through that period, that's when a guy called Andy Young, who was Dunfermline chief scout. If you go back your history and check Raith Rovers, Young, McNaught and Leigh, that was the 3 famous half-back lines. Andy Young was a chief scout, and he saw me doing the park, invited me in for a trial, and I played a trial when I was 13 for Dunfermline. I signed at 14-year-old as a schoolboy. Great, and Dunfermline had just won the Scottish Cup, eh?
Yeah.
Dunfermline had beat Hearts. They beat Celtic in the first round, beat Hearts in the final. And the next year, they're in the semi-final of the European Cup, Winners' Cup. So when you say, oh, you signed for Dunfermline, could have signed for, as I say, Tottenham Hotspur, Newcastle, Rangers. Mm-hmm. Who else was in our team? Dundee United, I think. But they were chasing me. But Dunfermline were a big team at the time. So, and that was the team I supported. So great.
Yeah. And you made your debut in a 1-1 draw at Ayr United. How did that feel?
Right. It was funny because we trained, and on the Friday, I was in the house, and Jim McLean's brother. You've got the 3 McLeans. You've got Jim McLean, Tommy McLean, and Wally McLean. And Wally came along in the house and knocked on the door, and he says, right, and they used to call me Don Juan, eh? Right, Don Juan, get your boots and be at East End for such and such a time. You're in the squad for the first team. I was only 17, eh? And on the telly, STV, the sports at 6 o'clock, I'm in the house, I'm watching the news. And here's a photo of me comes up on the telly, eh? Jim Leishman set to make his debut tomorrow against Ayr United, and I hadn't been told officially, but that was it. And Ayr United, again at that time, it was hardy boys, And it was funny, we played a formation, WM it was called. I think it was German or that was WM formation, where when you were the W in attacking, you had your two wide guys going forward, and if you lost possession, you went into an M, and you come. So that's what that was. But 1-1, I can't mind who scored, but it was a great. You felt
Jim,
great at night.
Jim, that must be one of the most frustrating and most confusing formations I think I've ever played.
No, it wasn't. It was easy. It's like, people that make it confusing. You think if you've got the ball, if you've got the ball and you're attacking, you want two wide men to go and get the ball and cross it in. If you lose possession, just like wing backs now, just like wing backs, the same principle. Tactics are nothing. See if you're 3-0 doing after 10 minutes, your tactics are all wrong,
Yeah,
absolutely. I came that personally. I got used to that often.
Brilliant.
No, but no. I was never a. It was really your commitment and you're showing a bit of courage. That's the best ones. And you kids didn't use that word now. You teach some boys as teachers, and I'm not criticising you because I know it's a hard job. But you go to them and say you've got to be dedicated, you've got to have passion. But please tell them. You tell your kids, show a bit of courage, Come on. If you show a bit of courage, you've got a chance of doing it. If you didn't show courage, you've no chance. You'll never be dedicated and you'll never be committed if you didn't have courage. And how often do you use that, with the kids? How often do you use that word?
Yeah.
Very rarely.
No.
So that's a great word to.
Brilliant. Is that over to me then, Mr. Johnston?
Yet for a professional managing career?
Right, okay, so professional career, Jim. Before obviously we move on to the kind of the managing side of it, I spoke to a big Dunfermline fan, and I'm surprised it's taken us 25 minutes, and you've no mentioned your goal at Ibrox.
You're off your Glasgow. I don't know what team you support, you three boys, you see. John McHugh, I came at the East End. You know that, John. And the referees are all Rangers supporters, so. Scott Johnson confused me,
Impartial.
Oh, that was amazing. I was getting £12 a week, John, right? That was my wages. And we're playing Rangers at Ibrox. And Rangers, 2 weeks after this game, went and won the European Cup Winners' Cup. And the only person that was missing out of that team was John Gregg. John Gregg was nursing an injury and they were getting him ready to play. It was Willie Henderson's last game for Glasgow Rangers, And they were playing him at Ibrox and 81st minute, the governing end. It says, then came Leishman's immaculate winner. Inside the box, he beat two defenders before slamming the ball past McCloy's far side post and finishing up in the net. So, pick that out. And the manager gave us, George Miller gave us a tenner after the game. £10 not. So he must have had a bet on it. Wasn't supposed to be. He was a great manager. George Miller was great. And he gave me a tenner going up the tunnel. I got a pair of new shoes on the Friday. Unbelievable. But that was a great time in my life. Breaking through, because when you were in at the start, you didn't really. But now I look back, I felt, hey, I've not contributed enough in these games because you were young, but you ran about a lot and that. But so when you go back, you've got to contribute. It's the senior pro, it's their livelihood as well. They're looking for. They've got kids and they've got mortgages and whatever. I was just doing it for the love of it. So you have to contribute, you have to concentrate. I played with some great players, and against I played against Jimmy Johnson in Celtic. He was one of the best players in Europe. I played against him twice and never met him once. Jimmy Johnson, think about it. On the one park, Willie Henderson, John Gregg, Colin Steen, Derek Johnson, Alfie Conn, Peter McCloy, Sandy Jardine, Willie Matheson, Willie Johnson. Many of them are internationals in the one team. Then you go to the Celtic team, my God, Jimmy Johnson, Billy McNeil, John Clark, Danny McGreen, Jim Craig, Ronnie Sin. You're playing against these boys at 17-year-old. What's the fear now? What's the fear? What's your starting now?
Were they your heroes, Jim? So obviously when we were younger, we had people like the Henrik Larssons or the that was who we kind of are inspired to be, obviously. Were these guys your heroes?
I had so many, Johnny. Even my partner Adele, she works in Castle Fine Arts, or she did work with Castle Fine Arts, and there was an exhibition in London, and it was for Pelly's 75th birthday, and all the artists were doing the original painting of Pelly. And she got me an invite down to go for lunch with Pelly. My God, I wasn't myself. There was about 60 people or something. I sat and listened to Pelly for an hour. Unbelievable. So he was a real hero. Bobby, the Celtic boys. Jimmy Johnson was brilliant. Willie Henderson brilliant. Willie Johnson brilliant. Bertie Hall brilliant. There was so many, but not just in the Celtic Rangers teams. You go to Aberdeen. Joe Harper, Bobby Clark, Martin Buchan, Willie Young, and you go to Dunfermline at the time, Alec Edwards, Pat Gardner, Bert Payton, Ben Martin, the Callaghan brothers, Willie Callaghan he looked after me, he was my mentor, and he would guide me through things and talk me through things. Great. So at that time there were so many international players playing in Scottish football. Great time. What a feeling you got in the dressing room just at 5-3. What a feeling you got, like the game on. No turning back now. You've got from the dressing room to the park to get switched right on. That's the distance. 10 seconds of your life to get switched on, and that's what I did. 10 seconds, right? I'm in, get it done. So say to school, you're there, get it done. Don't blame everybody else. You've been picked for some reason, so get it done. Great mindset I
had. You made 67 appearances for Dunfermline, but that was in 8 years. I thought that would have been more, but I seen you that a career cut short with injury.
Well, I started in 71, guys, right? As a professional, right? So I didn't think I was there I didn't think it was 8 years because I only played 3 seasons. In the first team. I broke my leg at 20. I was 20-year-old. The start of the season in August. It was a compound fracture, so it was quite a bad one. So when you look at the 67 games, it was in a 3-year period. 18, 19, 20, 17, 18. And so it wasn't a bad record. At that time, Leeds United and Liverpool were showing interest at 50 grand. I've got the scouting reports at Liverpool. A guy, Jeff Twentyman, came up to scout in Scotland, and in England he was Bill Shankly's chief scout. And I got sent the reports, and at the top of the page was Martin O'Neill Distillery. He came down, Trevor Francis, Birmingham City, Jim Leishman, Dunfermline Athletic, and the bottom of the page was Kevin Keegan, Scunthorpe. So I was in no bad company at that time. Yeah. But I was only 20, Johnny, when I broke my leg.
Right.
And after that, I trained again. I was training 3 days a week. 3 times a day, for 6 days a week to get back fit. I wanted to get back, and then I broke the stupid thing again. So instead of being out for 6 or 7 months, I was out for 17 months. So there's 2.5 seasons then. Yeah. I came back for a season, but I only played 5 games or something, 4 games or something. And that was me. I knew I was finished. It was murder. It was hopeless. And it broke my heart a bit, because my career was progressing. Yeah. Did you say it was 8? It was 8 years.
8 years, yeah. That's what
I didn't think I was there that long, John, because I went to Cowdenbeath with a guy called Frank Connor. And after Cowdenbeath, that's when I got into the coaching and the managing side after. I was only 26. I was only 26 when I got into the senior coaching, assistant manager, 26 at Cowdenbeath.
Touched on a bit of your career journey there, so could you tell us about the rest of your career then, from when you moved into the managerial kind of side of things?
My first, I was 3 months. I was 3 months at Oakley Juniors as the not even that, 2 months at Oakley Juniors. Then I moved house to Kelty. In Kelty, they had just been promoted or just went into the junior league. And they asked me if I would take the team for the juniors. And the first year we finished second, John. We were sitting top. Hull Beath won it and Kelty Hearts were second. So it was great for my first time. And then Cowdenbeath, Andy Rowland came out. I was 26 and asked me if I'd be his assistant. But he got the sack and I was in charge of Cowdenbeath for 3 games and the new manager brought his own boy in. Fine. That's what happens. Then I was going to go back to Kelty Hearts. They wanted me to come back and help out there. But then the Dunfermline Athletic, Pat Stanton was the manager and asked me to take the youth team. So I took the Dunfermline Athletic youth team. He went to Hibs and Tom Forsyth come in. Tom Forsyth come in for Motherwell and got the manager's job with Cammy Murray as assistant. And he asked me to take the B team, the second team. So I did that. I was 28-year-old when I was in charge of Dunfermline Reserves. And Tom unfortunately got the sack, and at 29, I got the manager's job at 29 at Dunfermline Athletic. 38 teams in Scottish football at the time, John. There were 38 teams. And my first team talk, 29-year-old, went in the dressing room. Some of the boys are older than me, and they're all sitting down. They're all shut up. So he's right, lads, we're 34th top. What a nice way to say you're rubbish, eh? You're 34th top. But they clicked onto that. They all laughed, eh? And I was saying, but at some kind, hey, you're murder, eh? And at 29, that's when I started making decisions. 29-year-old, 26 players that had got in that position, and 11 of them go at the end of the season. 11 players go, and I started building main teams. And my first full year, we finished third. The next year, we won the championship. The next year, we got promotion to the Premier League. We got relegated because we were 3 coming down. Then we won the league again. Then we stayed up. And I got them during that time. I got them to the quarter-final and the semi-final of the Scottish Cup. So there's a massive. My first full year, 22,000 fans for the whole year. And then when I left, the 22,000 paying £8. And when I left, there were 220,000 paying £12.
Brilliant.
And a semi-final where you split the semi-final. Celtic, Rangers played Aberdeen. No, we played Rangers. Celtic played Aberdeen. So that was split 5 ways. With the Scottish League getting a cut and we were getting that. So I made them another 300,000 or 400,000, eh?
Yeah.
Year, which was great because it's important, especially nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was great. That was great. It was the 6 years, 7 months the first year, then fell out, had a disagreement with the board and moved on, eh?
You did a lot at that point to try and increase the image of the club and try to get more fans in. I read you done a bit of publicity.
Yeah, I did a lot of poems and that was a laugh.
Aye.
Oh Lord, you know you like this, John, right? Oh Lord, you know the dangers each time you go and beat the Rangers. Dunfermline 2, the Rangers 1. What a thrill to be the soonest one get into it. Watching that's when I have to watch. But I also beat Celtic at that time too, John. So didn't think I was a Rangers man.
You've got to have a poem for that as well, then, Jim.
It was a new experience for Dunfermline. They had never been in the Premier League. Celtic won. No. I did that. The Rangers poem was my first one on Saints and Greaves, and then they all kept asking me, give us a poem, Jim, give us a poem. Crazy. You know Hazel Irvine?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hazel Irvine. Chick Young, I'm a good pal of Chick Young's, and they were working, and Hazel, we were playing a big game, I think it was Celtic or whoever it was, and Chick phoned me, Jim, Hazel, you're doing an interview with Hazel. I says, aye, she's on her way. She's going to do her interview in verse. She's wrote a poem, and she's going to do it. I says, go and recite it to me, Chick, recite it to me. So, right, so I got that, and she came over, and I just get it on. I didn't care nothing about this. So she did a wee poem about the game. And as soon as she finished, she looked at me with a smile on her face, thinking, that was great, I've got a poem. So I answered that in a poem. Well, you should have seen her face, man. Did you learn that? Did you learn that when I was doing my speech? I says, that's if you're a real poet, you can do that, Hazel. It took me ages to do mine. You can. So to this day, she didn't ken. That checked out. But I did all that. You want to know, which is important. A team game. If you're a manager, get the team on your side. Treat them properly, fairly. I set up, Norrie McCarthy, sadly passed away, Big John Watson. I set up a players' committee, and we went to every function. All the players went to every function they could in Dunfermline. No on a Friday night, no on a Friday, because they got the game on a Saturday. And they went, and see when you're having a hard game or a hard time, the fans stick by you then because they know that you care about them. You care about your team. You care about the people. And that was important to me. I went to every school with the players. We did a lot of charity work. We did a lot of things. There was one, it was funny, talking about teamwork. There was a young kid in Dunfermline who had a spinal problem. He was about 8-year-old, and he came to Dunfermline games in his wheelchair, and he sat behind the dugout and whatever. And his dad came to me, he says, Jim, we're trying to get him to America to get an operation on his back. It'll no cure it completely, but it'll maybe give him another 6 years on his life. So I say to the players, and we did the half marathon in Dunfermline, right? We did the half marathon, and I said, we're going to push. I forget his name, young Robert. I'd say we're going to push him round with us, guys. So we'll all take turns. But I'm telling you, get charity, get donations. If I beat any of you, you're getting fined 50 quid, the whole team, right? So I set up a photographer, right, with 400 metres to go, the half marathon. I said, look, come out and stop that and get a team photo with the boy, right? Just get all the boys together, right? So he come out, the photographer come out, and he's got all the players together, and I booked it, right? I booked it for the finish line. I'm not kidding you. I heard them all coming. I couldn't run for laughing. Oh, everyone of them got me. And we look back, and this young boy is in the middle of the road in his wheelchair. I'm like this. I had to go back and get the boy. He was laughing too, of course. Oh, that was one of the funniest things I ever tried to do. I couldn't get off it. Slow as zoning, man. But that was great. A great bunch of boys. Brilliant. Second division, promotion, the cup semi-final, promotion again, and I was only 30 odds. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'd won a promotion as a player, 1972-73, the old first and second division. Clyde won the league, and we were second. So I had four promotions with Dunfermline. And when I went back, I got them to a cup final against Celtic. Yeah. That's great. And many managers get to go to Hampden in a cup final, a national cup final, saying, I supported this team as a boy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Dunfermline. 7 cup finals, and I'm the only supporter that's led out their team. You didn't know how that makes you feel, eh? Yeah. Really, I'm being genuine. It made me feel so emotional. And I looked at the crowd and said, this is what a journey this has been.
Yeah.
We go beat feet on, but hey, Celtic were invincible at the time, eh?
Yeah.
Would you say that's probably been the highlight of your career? I know you've mentioned quite a few there, Jim, but if you were to pick maybe one or two, what would you say would be the highlight?
I think getting your first promotion, especially taking over when you're 34th out of 30 teams, then 2 seasons later you're getting promotion upper league, and then getting promotion again the following season. That was a highlighted period. That was a great period. And winning the first division for the first time with Dunfermline, the first division champions. Great in front of your friends and your family that have supported you all the time. I was at Livingston for 9 years. 9 seasons at Livingston for the third division, second, first, and finishing third top in the Premier League with Livingston Football Club. You think, just take a moment to think that. Celtic, Rangers and Livingston, their first season.
Yeah.
We played 2 games in Europe. We qualified for the UEFA Cup. And we beat Vaduz from Liechtenstein. We beat them. And then we got Sturm Graz in the next game. And we got beat 8-6 in Agri. But we beat Vaduz. We never got beat at home for Vaduz. And we never got beat at home for Sturm Graz. We got beat 8-6. That was a great time in my life. There's so many. I got an MBE. You mentioned Jim Leishman, MBE. What an honour that is for a miners boy. Yeah. His dad's a miner. His dad's a coal miner. Now, how do you get an MBE? How do you get that? I don't know. I don't know why me. There's hundreds of people. But I can honestly say I've tried my best at what I did. Mm-hmm. And I try to be fair with everybody. Sometimes when you're being fair, people don't agree with that. But getting an MBE, I was made the honorary president of the Fife Mining Society, right, for the Fife Mining Society. That's a great honour for my background. My dad was a miner, my brother, all my uncles, aunties and my grandfather, they all worked in them, and I was made the honorary president. That was super, eh? I won a Great Scot Award, and I was in Glasgow. I think it was Nicola Sturgeon that presented it. And it was me, there were 3 of us. It was me, Chris Hoy, and somebody else. The cyclist that goes all around cycling all over Europe. Can't mind his name.
Is it Mark Cavendish, was it?
That's it. That's a boy. That's the 3 of us, eh? And you're sitting and the winner is Jim Leishman. I say the 2 cyclists, I say, right boys, get on your bike, I'm moving on. Getting mentioned in their boys' names, eh? Beside these guys. Phenomenal. So I got a Great Scot Award, which is really a huge honour. Eh? It's the people that vote for you, so it's not as if you phone in and vote for yourself. Eh?
Yeah.
So that was a good honour. And the Scottish Sports Personality of the Year Award, I got that as well. So, and the Radio 4.
Sorry, Jim, you mentioned Livingston in Europe. I just wanted to take him back to that. The game in Vaduz, or Vaduz, I don't know how you would pronounce that. It was a bit of commotion at the end of the game, was that right?
No, it was at Livingston.
Oh, was it at Livingston?
It was at Livingston.
Right.
It was at Livingston, and we're in added time, and they got a corner, and I'm saying to myself, I'm shitting the linesman, the assistant, the official. I said, you're 4 minutes over. You're 4 minutes over time. What's the problem here? He was from Hungary or Belarus or something. He wouldn't have came what a big boy full of girlies trying to say. But the corner come across, and the boy volleyed it in, right in the net, and I'm like this. Can't you believe this? Can't you believe this? See, I'm going to meet him, and the referee said, no. He blew the whistle as soon as he took the corner. But nobody's seen it. You're watching the ball, and the place erupted. The place went mental. Oh, the people from Liechtenstein, they're pointing at me as if it was my fault. I said, no. Jim, what did you say to them when Chick Young? I says, oh, they got annoyed when I says, OOT, out. You're out. That was amazing. Why the referee just didn't blow before they took the corner?
Yeah.
That's what. The place was mental.
I take it you must have gave him a wee dram the same way you did in another referee. Is that right?
No, a wee what?
A wee dram.
Dram that night. Listen, Stan. I was past drams at that time. I had won 7 promotions and 2 cups. I was on the Dom Perignon, John. You young boys, you know what I mean? That's the bonus. All the school kids that stick in and get good jobs, you can get a Dom Perignon instead of a dram.
So what's this I hear you trying to get a referee drunk then?
What one? Grant Irvin. He's miserable boy ever. Him. He's no what a round yet. I've never seen him buy a round.
He doesn't buy us rounds either, Jim.
Eh?
He doesn't buy us rounds either.
That's right. You know what I'm talking about then. You know. Yeah. Bobby, I did one of the dinners for the referees. It's a hard job for them. And I would encourage any youngsters that are, you're maybe no a great football player or whatever, or sportsman that you're going to win every game. But if you go up and take up the sport, you know, if you go and whether it's a football referee, a hockey referee, a basketball, things like that, you get a lot of enjoyment. And if you go to the top league, you get a lot of enjoyment when you're earning about 400 quid a game.
Yeah. I wish. I wish.
Eh?
I wish that was good.
Yeah, right.
400 quid to inspect the park, probably.
Aye.
That's before you referee.
I've had a few ding-dongs with the referees, that's for sure. Oh, I've been sent off a few times in my career. When I look back, what a lot of nonsense, shouting at it. Oh, great, Big John Robottom. He's the one that he's got that other Bishy has you know, his name Hearn. Well, he comes from Kirkcaldy, a Raith Rovers supporter, so I gave him dogs abuse a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Good referee, it's just that he was a Raith Rovers supporter, I think.
Yeah.
Jim, a personal question that my friend has told me to ask. His father is a big Dunfermline fan. I might say this wrong. Is Tram Cobda? Is that right? Record sitting.
The Bairns.
Is Tran Consma?
Yes, Tran Consma, yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to.
Now, I'm told that he was a better player than George Best. That's straight from a Dunfermline fan.
That's a hard one. No, I signed this van, and I would have to say George Best was one of the greatest. Honestly, he's one of the greatest players. This van had, when I signed him, I think he had some like 40 plus caps for Hungary, and they had not a bad team at that time. And he was a really good quality player. He scored one of the best hat-tricks in 12 minutes against St Mirren I've ever seen. His left foot, his right foot, and a header, which was, but he was an athlete. He was an athlete, Isvan. You know, and he glided past people. He used about £5 notes under the door, right? 3/4 it was sticking out. And the first time I saw this I went to pick it up and it disappeared under the door and I banged my head. He had it on a bit of rope behind the door. And he had these, I smoked cigars at the time, and he gave me a lighter, and I lit it and it went bang. Oh, great. Great boy. Great boy.
Talking about some individual players, you signed Robert Snodgrass and Lee Griffiths when you were at Livingston.
For Livingston, they were there. James McPake.
Yeah.
James McPake. Dunfermline signed some good players too. Before we go to Livingston, we signed John Watson. Bernie Slave Albion Rovers was a golden shot. John Watson, 31 goals. I signed John for £300 in the Cafe Royal in Livingston, in Edinburgh. £300, a pint of Guinness for him and a pint of Tartan Special for his fiancée at the time. That was what, and they transferred up with Fulham. But he was Dunfermline's, I think he's his second top or third top all-time great goal scorer. He come from Hong Kong Rangers, a stone and a half overweight, and I go into his head and I says, "Come on, let's get a job done here and let's see where we can go." We got great Ian McCall, the Partick Thistle manager now. I signed him from Queen's Park. He was an amateur. Eddie, what was his name? Eddie, the manager there. He was and I signed Ian McCall and then transferred to Ibrox. Graham Souness for after 33 games or something for £200,000 to Rangers. Brilliant. Some good players I brought in. Free transfers. It wasn't all big money at the time. George O'Boyle, I brought George O'Boyle from Bordeaux. And he was a Northern Ireland international. Great stuff. Mark Smith. Signed Mark Smith for Celtic. Transferred him to Nottingham Forest, Brian Clough. But Livingston, you mentioned Robert Snodgrass and Lee Griffiths, and I've been following their careers. James McPake and there's another two. One went to West Brom, and they all come through the youth team. And Livingston had a great youth policy. Tony Fitzpatrick was in charge at the time. With another guy who I forget his name. That's really rude of me. And we signed all these guys. Robert was going through a hard time when he was a young boy. His mum was a single parent, and they stayed in a block of flats, and some of them were getting boarded up, shut down, and we decided that Robert could have went to Leeds United, but we gave, instead of giving Robert some money, we helped his mum out, and she respected that, and Robert signed for us, and I'm really pleased now that he's a full international. He's played at the highest level in England, because he's a real genuine top guy. Lee Griffiths, what a talent Lee Griffiths had, has, and again he's had his issues and problems, but I think he's getting through that now, and hopefully he's getting through that, because he's an arrogant wee boy on the park, and you've got to have that,
Have that, yeah.
You've got to have that self-belief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got to have that self-belief, and he's got that. And as I say, he's a busy player, he's a coacher, he's a finisher, great. So I'm really delighted. And Jason McPake, now the manager of Dundee, he went down. I had him as a striker, and then he broke his leg. He moved back to centre back, but didn't. Again, it's somebody who says, "Well, I might not be as great as a striker now, but I can still play. I can still contribute at a good level." And he readapted himself to become a defender, and did well.
Yeah. So
well done to James as well. These guys, loads of players through my time. Loads of players.
Brilliant.
You want to know, and this is how brutal sometimes you've got to be. Sometimes you've got to say, no, I've done enough. I've tried my best for you, and you're not coming on this journey with me. Mm-hmm. And you let them go. Because you're taking away quality time for people that want to get there. Yeah. And see the ones you let go who like that, they'll blame you, they'll blame me. But when they look back, they'll say, hey, it was me. It was me. I didn't want to do it. You were trying to help me and I didn't accept that, and I was causing problems. So sometimes you've got to say, no in a bad way, you're not coming on the journey. It's difficult for you, because I'm talking about football here.
Yeah.
See, when I did that, when I'd made my decision, no regret. Forgot about it. Cheerio.
That was one of I heard that was one of the piece of advice that you got. I think it was maybe, I don't know if it was Sir Alex Ferguson or something, I think it was. But it said that being honest was one of the big things for you when you were coming through as a manager.
All the top managers say that. The hardest thing sometimes, see when you're a young manager, Scott, right? Like me, I was trying to, you would bring a player in, say, I'm not going to play tomorrow, or before the game, and they want it, why and you put into this big spiel, and you try to make it easier. It's never easy when you tell somebody, I'm not going to pick you today. And that is where, rather than go around and because you start then telling we story, or you can, but you've just got to be brutal. I think you've lost form, or your mind somewhere else, or something. That's my reason. I don't think you're good enough for my team today. But for the future, you're still in my plan. And I found that hard at the start of my career to do that, because the players never accept it.
Yeah.
And rightly so they shouldn't accept it. But deep down they know.
Yeah. Jim, so fast forward to 2012 and you became a politician. How did that come about?
I was sitting in the house. And the phone rang. True story. And I recognised the voice. And this is Hello, Jim. It's Gordon here. I says, Gordon who? It's Gordon, the Wraith Rover supporter. Oh, Mr. Brown. Hi, Gordon. How are you? Because I've known him for years, and he's a Wraith Rovers man, a Kirkcaldy man. So he says, Jim, do you fancy being a counsellor? Oh, he says, oh, Gordon, I've never done that in my life. Yes, you've been mixing with people all through your football career. He says, Gordon, I've never thought about it. He says, think about it, and I'll phone you in a week. Well, he phoned me back a week later. If he hadn't phoned me, I would never. So he says, Jim, I says, right, what I'll do, I'll do it. I'll do it. If I didn't like it, I'm going to just say, right, cheerio. Because there's no point if you enjoy the job, you'll not do it right. So anyway, I did the door knocking and I got elected on the Friday as a councillor. And I went away to Spain. We've got a wee charity to raise money to encourage potential and ease the stress. Went to Spain with my pals. That was on the Friday night. On the Saturday, I got a phone call to come back. I says, I'm just here, the competition's on Sunday. He says, no, you have to come back. I says, why? We want to make you the provost.
Wow.
I says, I've never been at a council meeting or anything. No, but if you didn't go to the council meeting on the Thursday, if you didn't go, we can't put you forward. So it cost me £300 or something to get a flight back to Prestwick. We picked up, council meeting, item 3 on the agenda, election of provost. So that was it. My first full council meeting, they made me the provost of the Kingdom of Fife. Grant, you just said the provost of Fife, the Kingdom.
The Kingdom.
Fife.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I got re-elected. First to get re-elected 3 years ago. So I'll do 10 years and I'm undecided if I'm going to continue or not, because it's a big commitment. It's a big commitment because, as I say, you're covering the whole of Fife. And
yeah.
Great, but it's been a fantastic job. It's been fantastic. What a great end for me. It's been great. A lot of nice things I've seen and a lot of nice people I've met. And I wish I could help everybody. I wish I could. The finances are tight and the budgets are tight, everything. It's really a hard time, not just for Fife Council, but Glasgow and everywhere in Scotland. They're really hard. Everybody's a lot of good councillors out there trying their best.
Yeah. You got an MBE in 2008, was it? For the Queen? Yeah. How did that feel?
Amazing. They sent a letter. To Dunfermline Football Club, and they opened it up, and I thought, somebody like Alan McCoy's or some of my mates, Big Watson, that somebody's winding me up here, and I just chucked it on the table. And then I looked at it, and I said, Christ, this is real, eh? And not even a fair bit here, it was just fantastic. Went down to London. My son-in-law, Gordon Smart, I don't know if you know Gordon Smart, he was the showbiz editor of the Sun Bazaar column and his radio show, Radio X, down in London. And he took us, we stayed at my daughter and son-in-law's house and went to the palace, and it was funny, yeah? And we're in the family going to the ballroom, the orchestra's playing and whatever, and you go to this other room to get your final instructions. And there's about, 100 people there, so you get put in groups of 7. And so I was about the third last group, so I had a long wait. So we're going through the corridors, and there's Rembrandts and there's Constables, and Van Goghs, and all. They're on the walls there. I'm saying, oh my God, amazing. And I'm coming down the last corridor, and all I heard was, and I said to the boy in front of me, says, excuse me, what is that? He turned around and says, sir, that's the Queen. I says to him, she doesn't play the trumpet at all, does she? Well, the boy, he just looked at me like an idiot. I was just trying to fun, I was trying to ease it up a bit. She doesn't play the trumpet at all, does she? I thought it was funny. You're not laughing, but I thought it was funny. The kids all like that.
Brilliant. Just before we tie things up, Jim, any advice for any of pupils wanting to pursue a career in football?
I think Sir Alec Ferguson, I was down at his training camp, the new training camp, and I was in his office, and this parent and his 2 kids come in. It was one of them birthday, and Sir Alec was signing an autograph book, and he said to these kids, if you want to be like Beckham or Rooney, the secret is practice. Go and practice. Because see, like Beckham and Rooney, see when all the players are finishing, they go practice their free kicks. They go practice their passing. The first guy on the training field at Man United and the last one off, Eric Cantona. Quality. And all these guys, the class of 72 or 92, is that they guys practice all the time.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the secret. See if you can't do something. And that's what I did. We had 4 or 5 players in the youth team, in the senior team at the time, 17, 18-year-olds. So so I practiced my passing, I practiced my crossing and heading the ball. I went and practiced, and I felt really bad at 20 because I felt I was progressing.
Yeah.
I was progressing. I'm getting more confident. I'm getting more relaxed on the ball, and I was feeling I'm contributing more. And then unfortunately I had my double compound fracture. And so that stopped me. But practice is the secret. And the word that I used earlier on, courage.
Yeah.
See, when your mates are going down, they're going out, you say, right, have the courage to say to your pal, no, I'm not going to go, I'm going to have another hour.
Yeah.
No matter what sport or your exams, right? No, I'll see you later because I've still a bit of my classwork to finish here. Once I finish that, and see when you do that, and see when you go out, you feel better. You didn't have this in your mind, I've still got to do that. I should have done that, and then you're playing catch up instead of going, I've done all that, I can enjoy myself now. I can relax and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I get paid a lot of money for this, boys.
Brilliant.
You're getting all this for nothing.
Brilliant.
So, paying £200 to hear all this rubbish. That's right. You were a bit worried there, John. I think you thought I was going to charge you there.
Oh, they've been Grant anyway, with referee wages, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Scott, Grant, have you got any other questions?
No.
Scott, Cowboy?
Oh, yeah, so I'd seen a picture of you dressed up as a cowboy, Jim. The biggest cigar I've ever seen in your mouth. And I just wanted to know what was the story behind that.
I was in a musical called Anna Get Your Gun. I was. Right. And the whole family were in it, and I had to promote it. I was doing a promotion for Kelty Musical Association, Anna Get Your Gun. The cigar I got from my pal, I got that for winning the First Division Championship. It was rotten.
It was massive though. Was it about that?
I know, I smoked. I smoked for 10 years and I stopped. The best thing I ever did in my life.
Yeah.
I stopped smoking.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great things, guys. I wish I was starting again,
Yeah.
I wish I was starting again. I've met Pele. I've met Alec Ferguson, Mourinho, Arsene Wenger. I've met top politicians in Scotland. I've had a meal with prime ministers and everything. I've really enjoyed it. Met the Queen. Great. But I've met some decent people as well. It's not about the elite, it's about a lot of people out there that have did a lot of volunteering throughout this bad time. In fact, I was coming home from, I was out in the morning and I went shopping to Tesco's, driving back, and I saw their group characters, and I said, there's Spider-Man, and his wife, Mrs. Roper, I think, she sent an email to me saying, look, this is what my husband's doing, and a group of them. So I pulled the car in and went back just to say well done to them all. He had Batman, Spider-Man, Flash Gordon, And they all thought I was one of them, eh? I didn't have a costume on. Who are you supposed to be, Jim?
Right.
I thought just 5-10 minutes of my time just to say, well done, folks. That's all it takes. To say. And see if you're a manager. See if you're a manager. If you ever start to manage, or if you're training referees, all you need to say if you're a manager, well done Saturday.
Yeah.
Well done Saturday, because then they know that you appreciate what they did, and you're recognising what they did.
Yeah.
Once that's what it is. That gives them so much lift. See the internal feeling they get out of that. Hey, he appreciates that. He does. Or a good session at training. Well done.
Yeah.
That was great advice I got when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
Recognition, just one sentence. That's all you need.
Yeah. Hey Jim, so your finisher, obviously you mentioned Superman, Batman and Flash Gordon, but I don't think they'll make your dinner guests. So we're looking for 5 dinner guests. Who would you and why?
Well, Spider-Man and Batman, they all invited me, eh? They all invited me to their table, right? Who and why? George Best would be up there.
Yeah.
I've spoke with him 3 times, and a lot of his stories, eh? And I've read his book, and it was a great book to read, and because he was such a talent, but it's so many stories to tell you, eh? The good stories, the bad stories, and his famous stories about 3 Miss Worlds. Eh? Where George, he had won about 40 grand at the casino, and he was going to be Miss World at the time. The porter come up with a bottle of champagne. He says, George, where did it all go wrong for you? No bad going wrong, eh? George Best, great stories.
Yeah.
I think I'd like one of them to be my dad, eh?
Yeah.
My father, because I really did. My father, when I started as a manager at Dunfermline, he saw us win the 2nd division. Then he had a bad stroke after that. So he didn't see us winning the or getting promotion or winning the 1st division or cup. He never saw any of that. And that, I'd love to sit down and say, hey, Dad, this is what we did and all this. And he was, he didn't have the qualification, but he was well read. He loved reading, and some of the stories when we were younger, he liked the cowboy books and whatever, the stories about the Wild West and that. He would tell us about them. So, and he would enjoy the company of the other people as well. And that would give me a lot of satisfaction as well, eh?
Absolutely.
Sir Alex Ferguson would be one. Yeah. Not just to listen to him about the football, eh? Not just to listen about the football. The football stories, you've read them in the papers, or he's very knowledgeable about John F. Kennedy during that time when he got, he's got all the books on the assassination. So when we get into a conversation with him about it, he knows, he's very well read about that time. But he's got loads of stories of how he winds people up. And the man was genius, eh?
I've heard you're quite good friends with him, Jim. Apparently you've got your mobile number.
I've been down to see him a couple of times, aye. When I went down, it was great. You get into his office, and it's who you meet, eh? Yeah. You feel like a wee boy. You're sitting in the corner or standing in the corner, and this famous, Simply Red comes in, or somebody else comes in who's a superstar. Eh? You're sitting and saying, "Oh, you kidding me? Eh? I'm Big Jim for Logality." Eh? But obviously, they think I'm just one of the Neds, eh? But so that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting.
2 more.
Aye, and it's got to be for music, eh? I'd love to I think Brian Wilson for the Beach Boys would be one. Because the guy he's a genius, eh? Some of the songs, and it was amazing. Bill and I were on a cruise, and one of the lecturers compared the Beatles to the Beach Boys, eh? When Brian Wilson released a record, Paul McCartney and John Lennon, that they would have to, like say what do they call it, Sgt. Pepper's. They would release that, the music in that, because Brian Wilson had this great, it was going brilliant. So that'd be great. Brian Wilson with the Beach Boys, and there's that many.
Yeah.
My problem was who would turn up.
Politician, Jim, any politician? You must.
Well, there you go. That's a good one, eh? Aye. Gordon Brown. I've known Gordon Brown. See, why I would maybe try something else, because I've done that with Gordon, eh? I've been having meals with him, and I've met him a lot of times, and we've been at functions. So, although I love him with bits, I would rather get somebody else, eh?
Yeah.
Who would I get? Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela would be right up there. Now, I've got in the house, wish I could show you it. When I was a manager at Livingston Football Club, I had a South African player, under 23 international. He wanted to train with Heads and Hearts. He was across on he was studying, I think it was economics or something in Edinburgh, or studying in Edinburgh, and they couldn't let him. They didn't let him train, and he asked me. I said, of course, son, we've just a wee squad come and train with us. So they came in. When he was going back to South Africa, it was the year South Africa won, got a place in the World Cup, their first time in the World Cup, and they gave me a South African football strip as a thank you very much. And I said, great, and I just hung it in my cupboard, right, in my office. And in 2007, the Commonwealth Conference was in Edinburgh, and my reserve team coach, Mike Karokich, was a paramedic. So they got offered a chance to drive the delegations. So he took a week off his work, and he drove the East Pakistan delegation, 2 guys. So he had to take them to all the venues and drop them off at night. Now, they stayed in the same hotel as Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela had the whole second floor to himself. And these guys were on the first floor or the top floor, whatever. So I said, Corky, go and take that strip and ask the security if they'll get Nelson Mandela to sign it. Well, he went, he did it, and the security walkie-talkie up to the level, to the security upstairs. He asked Mr. Mandela. Mr. Mandela says, tell him to come up. So the security boy took my assistant up to meet him, sign it, the strip I've got on my wall outside here, framed, and I'm saying to myself, oh, if I just did it myself, I would have met the man. But I read his book, The Long Walk, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And amazing man, what he went through for his beliefs.
Yeah.
Let's hope I just go back to that.
Yeah.
That'd be my answer. There's that many. Frankie Valli would be great.
Yeah.
Some great songs. Andy Williams, Rod Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent.
Excellent.
Yep. Thanks very much, Jim, for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Some very good stories, very inspirational.
I hope so. I hope the kids, they can do it, eh? Have the courage to do it and get it done. Thanks, boys. Thanks for taking time for these kids, eh? Well done to you guys.
Thanks very much for joining us today, Jim. Make sure you follow us at Bishy PE and get across to our YouTube and Spotify channels to see our other podcasts and podcasts coming up. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks again, Jim.
Have a good night.
Take care.
Cheers.